And I'm going to kick it off and we'll give people a few minutes. We'll probably kick off just about 60 seconds after 1 p.m. And the welcomes and stuff like that.
Great.
Beautiful. Here we go. Have fun, everyone. All right. We have people strolling in. Welcome. Hi, everyone. We'll give a few minutes to everyone to join in, get settled, grab your lunch, grab your coffee, your drinks, and then we'll kick things off. Feel free to put in the chat where you're joining us from. That's always a really fun way to see how global this webinar is going to be. Welcome, everyone. Oh, we've got 22 people rolling in already. Wow, this is great. Georgia, Texas, North Carolina already. I'm currently in DC. We actually just drove in with the family this morning from Connecticut. So it's nice and sunny. Lots of bloom here in DC, Illinois.
We have Baja, Mexico in the house.
There you go.
Bienvenidos.
Yeah. Right.
And France.
Bonjour or bonsoir for France, because right now, at this point, it's definitely not bonjour. Wow, this is amazing. All right. Maybe another few seconds. What do you think, Steve? And then we'll kick off the party.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Wow, Dubai. Hi, Bruno. Wow, it's amazing. Florida. Beautiful. I'm glad this time actually works for such a global time zone, right? Still pretty reasonable for Dubai and not too bad for France. There you go. Love it. All right, so welcome everyone to another webinar. My name is Maria Velasquez. I'm one of the co-founders of the Cybersecurity Marketing Society. We host these educational webinars throughout the year for our members and for the wider community of cybersecurity marketers. Today, I'm super excited to be joined by Steve Piper, a dear partner of ours from CyberEdge Group, who's going to be leading this discussion with some pretty rock star marketers, all about winning tactics on lead gen, how to make the most of your content strategy, and hopefully a lot of you will come away with some pretty good actionable insights that you can apply today. So without further ado, I will hand it over to you, Steve, to introduce yourself and the esteemed panel, and also tell us a little bit more about CyberEdge, and we'll kick off the party.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, Maria. And thanks to all of you for joining us. I appreciate it. I am hoping that we're going to accomplish two things over the next hour. I am hoping that each of you will gain something actionable that you can take away and use in your role at your respective company. But also, I'm hoping this is fun. That's the only requirement I ask of my wonderful panelists is let's have fun. I hate boring, webinars where it's just death by slides. So this is going to be interactive. This is actually inspired by a panel discussion I did last December at Cyber Marketing Con in Philadelphia, where I did a CMO panel. That was a lot of fun. But I thought this time for this webinar, let's do a lead gen panel. Let's learn from the experts in the field, what's working, what's not working, how do they structure their goals. And we have an interesting question since we're living in some challenging economic times, or at the very least, uncertain economic times. What are we doing to prepare for that, if anything? We are going to save time at the end for your questions. So please ask your questions at any time. Before we kick off the panel discussion, I did want to give you a little bit of context about CyberEdge, who we are, and how we work with cybersecurity marketing teams. We've been around for over 12 years. We're almost at 300 clients now, 80% repeat business. We are the largest marketing and research firm that is dedicated to working with cybersecurity marketing teams. The vast majority of our competitors serve all nooks and crannies of the IT universe. We are laser focused on security. We live it, we breathe it every day of the week and twice on Sunday. We have won dozens of awards, and I'm going to show you in a moment the award that we're most happy about. But we have the largest portfolio of services anywhere. We can be your one-stop shop, not only for your lead generation needs, but also content creation and more. Now, I mentioned awards. We are so proud to have been selected as Marketing Agency of the Year last December at Cyber Marketing Con, the coveted Marquee Awards. It's a fun ceremony. And I want to say, I'm guessing most of you, the vast majority, are members of the society, which I'm a big fan of. If you haven't attended Cyber Marketing Con, I implore you to do so. It is one of the most amazing conferences I've ever been to in my life. You are going to learn so much from your peers. So it's chock full of great presentations. And it's also fun. Gianna and Maria do a fantastic job. They have an amazing army of volunteers. It's extremely well done. So it's December 7th through 10th. And this year it's in Austin, Texas. CyberEdge is proud to be a platinum sponsor. So please make sure you register for it. I promise you, you won't regret it. It's just a fantastic conference. We work with large, medium, and small security vendors across all facets of cybersecurity. So network security, endpoint, cloud, hardware, services. So no client is too big or too small for us. We value all of the customers that we serve. Now, I mentioned that we have the largest portfolio of services anywhere. You're going to find out in the next few minutes that we are massively different in so many different ways. In this way, we offer so many different services. So instead of working with one vendor to conduct content syndication campaigns or webinars or to promote your regional events, and then you work with another vendor to ghostwrite white papers and ebooks or do explainer videos or infographics, and then work with another vendor to do a survey report. I hope all of you have an annual research report. It's a great way to generate leads and help to build thought leadership in your industry. So we do survey reports and ROI reports. And we also have our annual cyber threat defense report. We just announced our 12th annual CDR this past Tuesday. We are a publisher under the brand CyberEdge Press. Don't call your customers dummies. They deserve better than that. And you deserve to save money and have an easier process. Our definitive guides are much more cost effective than the For Dummies books and ebooks out there. But you're not limited to the definitive guide branding. You can also do custom cover books and ebooks, as well as audiobooks. And then finally, we are, I'll call it a temp agency. We're a staff augmentation firm. So if you have any short-term gaps in your marketing team, maybe someone's on maternity leave or medical leave, or you just need to boost for whatever reason, we can provide interim demand generation managers, digital marketing managers, content marketing, product marketing, even CMOs. So we can be your one-stop shop for all of your cybersecurity marketing needs. Now, of course, all of you have roles, either dedicated roles or partial roles, with regard to lead generation in your respective organizations. So our panel, we're going to be talking about lots of different strategies for lead generation, just to give you a little bit of insight of how CyberEdge facilitates lead generation. We have a few different programs, starting with content syndication. Okay, our content syndication is email only. We have 3 one-touch options for the top of your funnel. We have 2 double-touch options at the bottom of the funnel. You're going to find if you work with us that we are either the or just about the lowest cost lead gen vendor, not just for content syndication, but the lowest cost in the industry. And unlike some of our competitors, we're not just US focused. We have millions and millions of contacts in virtually every major country around the world. Last year, for one of our clients, we generated 7,000 leads from 25 different countries and 6 different continents. Also, unlike our competitors, we're 100% business-only email addresses, so no Hotmail or Gmail. And here's a big advantage no repeat leads for 12 months. So if you work with us on ongoing campaigns, unless you want repeat leads, our default is no repeat leads for rolling 12 months. And that's also an advantage for single vendor webinars. Most security vendors do outsource webinars. They do in-house webinars, and they'll outsource webinars to get those net new leads. Okay, we are the lowest cost in the industry. We're available in more than 75 different countries. We use On24, so it's a very reliable platform. And again, 100% business-only email addresses. Now, these three things in bold, watch out for them if you work with other vendors. If you do work with other vendors, ask them in advance, hey, I know I'm supposed to have 200 registrants here. Are they all going to be registered for our live webinar? Or are you just going to register half and then make up the difference like after the webinar with webinar replay leads? If they say the latter, raise the BS flag and say no thanks. Because we can certainly provide post-webinar leads, but that's content syndication. That's half the price of webinar leads. With CyberEdge, 100% of your leads are registered for your live or semi-live event for whatever date and time that's going to take place. A complaint we hear from security vendors is when they do monthly or even quarterly webinars, they get a lot of repeat leads. They say they see the same leads over and over again. With CyberEdge, no repeat leads for a rolling 12-month period. We're the only vendor, webinar vendor to offer that. And we are the only webinar vendor that I've found that offers a 30% live attendance guarantee, okay? And we have excellent live attendance that ranges between 35 and 45% on average. And then multi-vendor webinars. So this is a great way to get twice as many leads for the same amount of money. This is US and Canada, and unlike our competitors where they may have 10, 12 vendors participating, we cap it at 6. So instead of having 60 minutes to yourself, you have 25 minutes to yourself. First vendor who signs your statement of work goes first, second one goes second, and so on. We typically have around 3 vendors participating, and they do share the leads. Unlike our competitors, 100% business-only email addresses. Our competitors are generally IT leads with literally 1+ employee. So your lead could be a Gmail address for an independent cybersecurity consultant who is a freelancer, and that's one of your leads. Not with CyberEdge. We're 100% cybersecurity leads, 500+ employees. And again, maximum of 6 vendors, and that same 30% live attendance guarantee holds true. Okay, so now you have a little bit more context about CyberEdge, and hopefully we're going to get to meet you in person in Austin in December at Cyber Marketing Con. With that, I would like to introduce you to our 3 panelists. All of them are veteran lead gen cybersecurity marketers. So starting with Fran Lorenzo. Fran is Director of Campaigns Marketing at Eastentire. In her role, she leads the strategic full funnel approach to demand generation that includes outbound growth initiatives, tier 1 events, and integrated campaigns to drive new business revenue, customer retention, and expansion. She began her career in culture and entertainment before transitioning into tech, landing a unique role at the intersection of both industries. Over the years, she has worked closely with entrepreneurs, SMBs, and startups, bringing a creative, results-driven approach to every campaign. Fran, thanks so much for joining us. Okay, and then next we have Sabrina Ganglani. Sabrina is a senior field marketing manager with HackerOne. Sabrina is a dynamic marketing strategist with 6 years of experience in the tech industry, now making waves in cybersecurity at HackerOne. With a track record at SurveyMonkey, Upwork, and CultureAmp, she thrives on creating high-impact demand generation and account-based marketing programs that drive real results. Passionate about innovation and audience engagement, Sabrina is excited to bring her expertise to the fast-evolving world of cybersecurity. So, Sabrina, thanks for joining us. And finally, Casey Gobet, which I just learned how to pronounce properly, with the roots of that last name coming from Montreal, Canada. Casey is Senior Director of Integrated Marketing. She is a results-driven marketer with over 16 years of experience in strategic marketing leadership across financial services and cybersecurity. She specializes in product marketing, sales enablement, and digital transformation, driving brand awareness and market positioning. Casey has a proven track record of optimizing go-to-market strategies, elevating digital engagement, and leading high-impact marketing teams. With expertise in content strategy, demand generation, and stakeholder engagement, she excels at aligning marketing initiatives with business objectives. So, Casey, thanks to you for joining us. I appreciate it very much. So, the way this is going to work is we have 7 panel questions here. The first 3 are going to be instant poll questions. And Maria, I'll go ahead and ask you to pop that up, the instant poll question for the audience. And then I'm going to ask our panelists to weigh in with their own responses to this question. The question we're asking is your demand generation team assigned a goal for generating leads tied to a certain percentage of sales pipeline? If so, what percentage? Okay. Is it in the 1 to 10% range of your sales pipeline? 11 to 20%, 21 to 30%, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, or over 50% of the sales pipeline is tasked by your demand generation team to come up with net new leads to drive your sales pipeline. Okay. So is your demand generation team assigned a goal for generating leads tied to a certain percentage of sales pipeline? 1 to 10%, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50, and then yes, over 50%. Okay, and give you just a couple more seconds. We still have responses coming in. I'm thrilled with the turnout. We have just fantastic turnout today. All right, 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, Maria, I think we're ready to see the results. All right, fantastic. Okay, so no one said 1 to 10%. The biggest response was 23%, and that's the 21 to 30% range. Now, the next one was 31 to 40. Next one was 11 to 20. And then the final was 41 to 50, and then over 50%. Now, of course, we can't construct an exact mean or median right here on the spot. But being kind of a math nerd, there's 33% that are 11 and 20, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. That leaves everyone else above. I'm going to guess here it's about 33%, somewhere about that. In other words, 1 out of every 3 forecasted sales deals stems from the demand generation team. So that's pretty exciting stuff. So let's ask our panel to weigh in here, starting with Fran. So Fran, at Easton Tire, what percentage of your company's sales pipeline is tied to your demand generation team?
Yeah, so for us, I would say we're at the middle, same with everyone else. We're at about 30% for new business specifically. But if we look at supporting expansion goals as well, we will sit around about 22%, but that's really split between sales, doing expansion, customer success for retention and expansion, of course, and then you have marketing.
Interesting. So you're right there in my on-the-spot mean calculation of around 33%. So about 30%. But so what you're saying is at Easton Tire, you have a secondary goal for upselling your
Yeah,
existing customer base. Is that what you mean by expanding?
exactly. Yeah, so we want
Okay.
to make sure we're expanding them, retaining them, all that jazz.
Interesting. Very interesting. Sabrina, how about at HackerOne?
Yeah, so we don't necessarily have a lead goal, but we do have an MQL goal and an opportunity goal quarter over quarter. And for new business, that does make up over 50%. So our team definitely has our work cut out for us. And then we're still working on kind of like building out our expansion focus and our whole customer marketing program, but we'll definitely see an MQL goal and a pipe goal for that coming in the near future.
Okay, great. And Casey, how about IONS?
Yeah, so at IAMS, we have a demand generation goal of around 20%, but we also have a marketing team goal. So our marketing team goal is actually 55% of total sales pipeline. And
Wow.
yeah, so that includes our events, which is one of the main drivers. We host over 200 internal events per year. But demand generation specifically, which is what my team manages, is 20% of our sales pipeline.
Okay, very good. Excellent. All right, one question down, six more to go. Maria, just a sanity check within Zoom webinar. I see a share results button. I presume that was shared with the audience that they could see the compiled results, right?
Yeah, everyone should see it. And in fact, we actually, when we launched the poll, people were able to answer the other questions. So when we get to them, I will just share the results again, and we can you can scroll down and you'll see their answers for that one as well.
Okay, very good. Excellent. Which is a segue to our second question here. Does your organization have an account-based marketing ABM program? If so, how does it work? Now, of course, in the instant poll, ignore the latter part. You know, we're not asking you to disclose how it works in the instant poll. And Maria, just to make sure I understood you correctly, so all three questions were asked at the same time. So it's not open for additional weigh-ins, right? We're good?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just scroll, you'll see the next question is number 2, does your organization? Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, perfect. So I do see that. And we did get quite a few responses, so that's wonderful. Okay, so the responses here, does your organization have an ABM program? 56% said yes. 26 said not yet, but coming soon. And then 19% said no. Okay, so 4 out of 5 demand gen teams at cybersecurity vendors, according to our small sample here, 4 out of 5 are embracing ABM, either already embracing it or coming soon to a theater near you. So Sabrina, tell me about HackerOne, and do you have ABM endeavors at HackerOne?
We do. I would definitely say we're still in the growing and revamping stages of our ABM program. We use 6sense as a foundation of our program to build target account lists. We're constantly pulling different keywords for a variety of programs that we're using across email, display, and even our content syndication programs.
Okay, great. And one of the things I like about 6sense and other companies like Bombora and ZoomInfo has this is purchase intent data. If you're not familiar with that, I do encourage you to get familiar with purchase intent data. As employees of enterprises and really companies around the world download content from media websites by doing searches based on keywords that are important to your organization, companies earn purchase intent scores. Usually it's like from a scale of 0 to 100. And that's one of our content syndication offerings, is we can do campaigns just to companies based on demonstrated purchase intent. But what I've also found, and this is for the 19% of you who don't have an ABM program, a great way to initiate that is to subscribe to 6sense or other companies. And you certainly have your ideal customer profile, but you can use these as tools to construct your TAL. Your TAL, of course, is your target account list. I have personally reviewed, I'd say, at least 200 TALs. And I would say the average TAL is probably around 1,500 companies, something like that. The fewest I've seen is maybe 300. The biggest I've seen is over 10,000. But I'm a big proponent of ABM. So as a tip for you, use 6sense, Bombora, or something else that can actually help you construct your target account list in the first place. So great. Casey, what say you from IANS?
Yeah, so it's always funny. I think ABM kind of means a lot of different things to a lot of different marketers, right? So right now, I'm just really focused on industry-based ABM targeting. So we found that dependent on your industry that you're purchasing cybersecurity information, that you're going to have a much different need, a much different use case, a very different purchasing journey. So we're really focused on vertically integrated ABM programs right now.
Yeah, and I'm really glad you said that. So ABM doesn't mean all or nothing. And what I mean by that, it doesn't mean that you have one target account list for your company and that's it and be all. Of course, we want to segment the market. And segmenting, I like to use the Goldilocks and the Three Bears analogy, right? So this chair is too hard, this one is too soft, this one is just right. you want to have enough segments where you don't want to have too many segments where you have, not only industry, but within each industry, then you have different sizes. And then within each of that, then you have buyer personas where now you have like 100 different segments and, trying to have messages for each of those segments. That's maybe too many, but you also don't want to have too few. And an ABM program, and to Casey's point, doesn't mean that you have a universal target account list across every segment of your customer base. And I think it's really smart to have TAL's target account list for your major industries, because the messages that you deliver to those different industry segments may be different. And of course, the whole point of ABM is to target those companies that you feel, for whatever reason, would be an ideal fit for your organization. So I definitely appreciate where you're coming from, Casey. Fran, how about Easton Tire?
Yeah, so about a year ago, we were definitely in the not yet, but coming soon category. Since then, we've definitely implemented an ABM program, but we actually refer to it internally as an ABX program. So, what that means is account based experience. So, when we look at the phrase itself, ABM, M stands for marketing. But for our organization, we want to make sure that is everyone at the organization. The onus should not just be on marketing themselves. So in doing so, we end up having really good cross collaboration with our sales team and our customer success team to deliver that ABX experience for all of the accounts that we are targeting.
Yeah, that's great. So from a marketing perspective, we certainly may have different messaging that we have for different segments. From a customer success team perspective, just not to put you on the spot, but just as an example, what might those customer success managers do differently, based on the account that they're speaking with?
Yeah, so with our customer success managers, there are a few of them that manage very specific segments. So we can have some customer success managers that just have the bulk of their accounts in legal. So as a result of that, obviously they're in the know within that industry. They're able to share those very specific experiences and contacts with other customers that may be onboarding, or even if they're on a prospecting call with a legal prospect, they'll be able to bring that full customer experience through to the very end, even at the beginning, rather.
Okay, fantastic, great. All right, and thanks for that. ABX, I love it. Not stopping at the M, taking it to the next level. So that's fantastic. All right, and then our third instant poll question. We have 7 total panelist questions, but please, at any time, feel free to ask questions because we are going to save time at the end for your questions that will be responded to by our panelists. Question number 3: what are your top 3 ways your organization generates new leads? Okay. And so we do have lots of instant poll responses here. Let me bring this up front and center. And this was select up to 3. Okay. And the choice by overwhelming number 1 is conferences. Like, coming up and just at the end of this month is the annual RSA conference in San Francisco, or Black Hat in Las Vegas, or there's just dozens of conferences out there. So that is number 1 for generating net new leads. Number 2, and this is not a surprise to me, and 90%, by the way, said webinars. I'm sorry, I misspoke. 90% said conferences. Okay, 67% was the next response, webinars. So 2 out of the 3 of you selected webinars as one of the top 2 ways to generate net new leads, which I think makes a lot of sense. And I think it's great to host in-house webinars to nurture the leads that are already in your HubSpot or Marketo or Eloqua or whatever it is database. And trying to promote, using social media and other mechanisms, maybe paid ads and that sort of thing, to drive registrations. But smart security teams see the value in outsourcing webinars to other providers, because when you do that, hopefully you're getting 100% net new leads. And with CyberEdge, you can provide a suppression list to us to ensure that all of the registrations we're driving to your webinar are truly net new. And so 67%, exactly 2 out of 3 of you said webinars was your second biggest initiative. In third place, content syndication, okay? Content syndication is great because you can satisfy the needs at different phases of your leads funnel. We have clients that do one-touch content syndication campaigns because they just want to fill the top of their funnel. They're saying, hey, Steve, you know what? We are a lead nurturing machine. Okay. We have so many different ways to nurture leads. We just need to get those net new leads opt-in compliant at the top of our funnel. Or if you want to influence your pipeline in the near term, then double touch content syndication. So content syndication, webinars, and conferences are among the top 3. Honorable mention in 4th place is SEO at 43%. Pay-per-click, so search engine marketing, pay-per-click ads, like Google AdWords campaigns, LinkedIn campaigns. Oh, I'm sorry, that's in last place. SEO is in 4th place with 43%. Paid media, doing display ads or dynamic web retargeting, that's 33%. And in last place is pay-per-click at 19%. But top 3, content syndication, webinars, and conferences. So thanks to all of you for participating in those instant polls. Casey, I'm going to start with you. Tell me about IONS. What are your top 3? And they don't need to be in decreasing order, but which strategies make your top 3 list?
Yeah, I mean, great minds think alike with everyone on the call. So, but I will say is, we use everything in a really integrated approach. I think you can't take one thing as a standalone. So we do use conferences. I'm excited to be at RSA if anyone else is going to be there at the end of this month. We use that as a really great way to get that in-person contact. That's going to be like, your low volume, but really high converters. I love webinars because we can go into really in-depth on topics. And to your point, Steve, we have a really, really strong database here at IONS, but my goal is to actually bring new leads in. So being able to outsource webinars in addition to hosting our own organic webinars provides a really nice balance of, the demand generation that we're looking for. And we get really quality conversions. It's much easier for the sales team to follow up on that type of engagement, be able to have a conversation about what someone enjoyed from a webinar than just content syndication alone. But third place for us definitely is still content syndication. As a cybersecurity research, that's our bread and butter. So we love content. And also it's just a great way for people to gain knowledge. So everything else supports that, kind of like what you mentioned. I think what a lot of people on this call see, around SEO, display, pay-per-click, all of that support those content efforts. So
yeah, that's great. So your top 3 align with the top 3 in perfect order in the poll. One of the things about the great things about outsourcing webinars with vendors that allow you to do this, and not all vendors do. I'll speak for myself at CyberEdge. You can customize your webinar to your heart's delight. Okay. So what I mean by that is you can do an ABM webinar. You can do an industry focused webinar. You want your webinar to be manager and hire security professionals or director and hire. You could, if your list is long enough, you could do a webinar just among companies with demonstrated purchase intent. So if you are outsourcing webinars, make sure that you have flexibility to customize the webinar based on your needs. So
yeah.
Casey, that's great. Thanks
And
very
I'll
much.
just comment real quick. Someone mentioned in the chat like how expensive things like RSA and Black Hat are. That's a great point. A lot of us in the cybersecurity marketing realm are not official sponsors, right? Like we have side venues, we do private dinners. So I think there's still a lot you can do from a marketing perspective, even if you're not an actual sponsor, quote unquote.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point. And many of our clients, I would say most of our clients are exhibiting at RSA, but many of them are not. and they're investing in offsite, locations for other events, which is great. By the way, if you would like to meet with CyberEdge at RSA, we don't have a booth there, of course, because we have nothing to offer security professionals. But we are going to be there, and this is I think if my count is correct, my 16th consecutive RSA conference. And I know what you guys are thinking. How could that be with how young I look? I mean, I get that a lot, obviously. But if you would like to meet with CyberEdge at RSA, go to our website, CyberEdge group. Don't forget the group, cyberedgegroup.com/RSA. And we'd be happy to meet with you. All right, Fran, what say you from Easton Tire? What's on your top 3 list?
Yeah, I kind of just want to say ditto to everything Casey said. I think like if I categorize it probably by just marketing budget, I would say number one would be like paid media display, any type of retargeting. And then obviously like a little bit of the SEO piece in that. Second would definitely be conferences, as we're all, I presume, preparing for RSA like in a few weeks. Like, oh my gosh. That's definitely a significant lead driver for us, especially for new business. And then third, I would say third-party media programs. And what I mean by that is like webinars, content syndication. If I'm doing a custom report or survey, that would be like the other bucket I would count.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. So combining media, content syndication, webinars, sponsoring survey reports, that's great. That's in your top 3. So you mentioned paid media, so display ads and retargeting, and that was 5th out of 6th place according to our instant
Yeah,
poll.
that was super
What
interesting.
advice? It sounds like, since you're having a lot of success at doing that at Easton Tire, what's been working for you?
I think for us, it really it really drills down to us being laser focused on our ICP, making sure that we're leveraging Sixth Sense and any type of intent data that we have, making sure that that connects to the paid media program that we have. You have a lot of data like in your CRM even, make sure you use that to your advantage. So the fact that our team works very closely with marketing operations and even our agency to make sure that we're drilling down on our targets and everything like that, that has made a significant impact in addition to what we're actually sharing with the paid media. We do a lot of A/B testing with our display ads. Same with the content. If we have like a feature in the Gartner report or Forrester, that's definitely something we want to use to our advantage, even the G2 badges.
Okay, fantastic. Great. And Sabrina, what say you from HackerOne?
Events +1. We are just in the thick of it right now with RSA. We have Gartner. We have our own roadshow that we do called Security at. That's also coming up. So team is really, really in the thick of that right now. I'd also say we just revamped our website. So SEO and a mix of displays also key focus for us right now. If you haven't checked out HackerOne's new website, make sure to do so. It looks pretty good. And then last, I would say content syndication. I'm constantly looking for ways to really lean into content syndication and tie that into our ABM efforts. So whether that's third-party hosted webinars, working with CyberEdge on double touch content syndication programs, that definitely helps to drive a lot of foot traffic for us.
Okay, fantastic. So content syndication is kind of a recurring theme here in all the different responses, including our instant poll. And that is a nice segue because question number 4, we're going to delve a little bit deeper here. Does your organization conduct content syndication campaigns? If so, what works and what doesn't work? So we've already answered the first part. Fran, I'm going to start with you on this. So we do know that organizations are conducting content syndication, or all 3 of the panelists here. But let me ask you, what works, maybe with regard to what sorts of content assets you're promoting, or how you're structuring your content syndication campaigns. What works, and have you ever tried something that didn't work?
Oh, yes. A lot of growing pains on that front. But for us here, we do content syndication, of course, like everyone else. In terms of what's working, it goes back to my last comment, the previous question, where we really hone in on our ICP. And whenever we're working with a vendor for content syndication, we're always like, okay, this is our ICP. These are our parameters, business only email addresses. What can you do? What's in your database that matches up with our ICP? And then from there, depending on what numbers we get back in terms of audience size, we'll drill down on, okay, what type of program can we do? Is it one touch, two touch? Are we looking at bottom of funnel where it's sales qualified already because we have banned questions on the form or something like that? So we really hone in on ICP. And then in addition to that, layering in the intent data that we have from 6sense or other tools to see what could be successful. But yes, we've definitely tried programs where there was zero ROI, unfortunately. We tried out a new vendor, looked really cool, and just did not pan out for us. And I don't know if it was maybe the ICP just really didn't match up to their audience that they said they had, and just the quality of the leads was just not there for us. So it required a lot more nurturing work on our end.
Yeah. You've said multiple things that have made me reflect on conversations that I've had with our customers over the many years. I've had more than one conversation, like intro calls with customers, and I bring up content syndication, and it's like, we're on camera. They didn't do this, but it's like they put a cross, in front. No, repel, get away, content syndication. No, we're not going to do that. And so many organizations have been burned by content syndication for multiple reasons. And let me tell you why organizations have been burned. The first reason is there are vendors, I'll say less reputable vendors out there that oversell content syndication. What I mean by that is they're going to tell you, oh yeah, our leads, they're going to be warm leads. We're just going to promote your white paper and you're going to see that our leads are really warm. BS. I'm going to say this again, no one-touch lead is a warm lead. No one-touch, there's one thing I want you to take away from this webinar, it's this. No one-touch lead is a warm lead. Don't send one-touch leads to your SDRs, okay? Those leads are to be nurtured. If you've got a demand gen machine and you're fantastic at nurturing and you just want new contacts to bring in so that you can nurture them, then one-touch leads are great for you. Double touch leads are warmer leads. And we're talking about promoting the big three content assets: white papers, ebooks, and research reports. As a nice litmus test, if it's gated on your website, then it's probably a good candidate to be a content syndication asset. And here's another tip. Don't use content syndication to promote your Gartner Magic Quadrant report or some third-party branded report. Promote your company branded reports, because even if you do a double touch campaign, if one or both of the reports are third-party branded, by the time the SDR reaches out, they're going to say, I don't remember downloading anything from your company. But if they're company branded assets, then they're much more likely to remember your brand, okay? And then the last thing that you said, which triggered something, is BANT leads. And for everyone's benefit, BANT is budget, authority, need, and timeline. Our warmest leads are what we call SQLs, or sales qualified leads. So it's double touch with a twist. And the twist is the first filter question we ask in the registration form of the second content asset is, and I'm just going to randomly select technology category. I'm going to say MDR, Managed Detection and Response. Do you have a budgeted managed detection and response initiative? Yes, within 3 months. Yes, within 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, or no. We guarantee a favorable response. The second one is select the options that best describe your role as it pertains to selecting MDR vendors. I define our requirements. I create a short list of vendors. I participate in the proof of concept. I ultimately select a vendor, or none of the above. So every sales qualified lead you get from CyberEdge says, yes, they have a budgeted project. Yes, that person has a role. And of course, from minute one, they're aligned with your ICP. So don't fall into the trap of over-promising and under-delivering on content syndication. There's a reason why security vendors have been burned. It's because they've been promised too much, and only double touch leads, and also a decent sample size. Okay, so some vendors will sell maybe 50 or 100. That's too small of a sample size. Our minimum is 300. Our average campaign is probably around 750 or 1,000 leads, but at least 300. That gives you a nice sample size. So, Fran, thanks for your response and prompted me to think about things to share from my own experience in working with so many vendors. Sabrina, tell me about your content syndication experience. What's worked, and have you been burned? Has anything not worked for you?
I've definitely been burned, Steve. We actually just did our first two-touch program with Cyber Edge, and that was the first one that I have done in a really long time. So we're already seeing good results from that program. I'm going to just emphasize what you said. One touch doesn't work. There's a lot more work that needs to go into leads that come in with just one asset download. I'm noticing a lot more nurturing needs to be done, a lot more sales follow-up needs to be done. It's a lot easier when someone downloads two assets and then you pass them on to sales for them to work. So that one's huge. I've definitely dealt with my fair share of bad vendors that I don't enjoy working with and that I haven't seen good results from. But the ones that I am, staying close to and working a lot with, I really go into a content syndication program with a game plan. And what I mean by that is using tools such as 6sense, creating target account lists centered around keywords that I'm seeing within 6sense. So, for example, if I want to run a content syndication play around pen tests specifically, I'm going to go into 6sense, create a new target account list of accounts that already have some pen test intent. And then I'm going to go back to my content syndication vendor and send them that list to try to convert those leads that I already know are engaged in some capacity. So that's what's been working really well for us. Definitely doubling down on a lot of those efforts and seeing some good results here at HackerOne from that.
Okay, great. Excellent. And then Casey, how about you from IONS?
Yeah, I would definitely echo what Fran and Sabrina said. To your point, Steve, I think it's easy to look at content syndication lead numbers and look at the volume and look at cost per lead and get really excited. But I do think you have to kind of rein it in, realize that that there is a lot of nurturing still to be done, right? So like we do not actually participate in any single touch content syndication. It's not worth our budget. And even with double touch content syndication, we know that there is a nurture process on our side before sales is really ready to take those and to move on with them. So we kind of bake that into our process, and that's how we approach content syndication, realizing that is just, a door opener, and there's a lot more work to be done once we get the leads. But we find, double touch is our only kind of entry point. We don't even bother with anything else.
I love that, and I hope that's a takeaway from all of you. If you really are looking to impact your sales funnel, double touch is definitely the way to go. Now, the next question we asked relates to so content syndication was in third place in terms of marketing initiatives that impact net new leads. Conferences was first, webinars second, content syndication third. This question is about webinars. So does your organization outsource webinars? And what I mean by that is you're sponsoring, you're actually participating in the webinar. It's your speaker or speakers, it's your slides, but your vendor hosts the webinar and they're responsible for getting the registrations, they're responsible for getting good live attendance and so on. So the question is, does your organization outsource webinars? And if so, same kind of question, what works and what doesn't work? Okay. Sabrina, we're going to start with you.
I'm just jumping in, Steve, with a quick time check. We have about 13 minutes left, and we have 4 questions in the Q&A, which is super exciting. So I just
great. So we're going to be pithed on these next few questions. And Maria, thanks for jumping in.
Yeah, I'm gonna
start
the Oscar music soon.
I'll keep this short and sweet. We actually do most of our webinars in-house. although I do leverage various third-party programs to do webinar replays for us. So again, we just did one with CyberEdge, already seeing 2 opportunities come in from that. So really excited about that. But we're very fortunate to be able to do most of it on our own. Our team is great about just promoting on LinkedIn and spreading the word to drive registrations.
Yeah, Simulive webinars are fantastic. The audience has no idea that the webinar was pre-recorded. So that's great, Sabrina. Casey?
Yeah, so we love outsourced webinars. In fact, actually, what we do is kind of unique, maybe, is we host our organic webinars. I'll take an example. Last month, we hosted one on Chinese LLMs, and then we actually hosted the exact same webinar with an outsourced webinar. So, same content, same speaker. So, we didn't double the work on our side, but we doubled the amplification. We have a different audience than our outsourced vendors like CyberEdge does. So we took the same content, used it twice, and it's a really easy way for us to sort of expand what we're doing with one piece of work.
Okay, great. And Fran?
Yeah, we do the same thing. So we'll run our own in-house ones, and then we'll work with a vendor to do a replay and like increase amplification. And then we do outsource as well. And I think it really goes to seasonality for us in terms of like, do we have extra budget? Then for sure we're gonna outsource it and make sure we get some more plays. And then if we don't, then let's do something in-house and get our team to spread the word for us.
Okay, perfect. You mentioned seasonality. Maybe that's a little bit of a segue here because the economic winds have certainly changed in recent months. And has current economic uncertainty affected your demand generation budget for 2025? If so, how? And let's try to keep it to 30 seconds so we can save time for audience Q&A. Oh, and then this is number 6, so we're going to start with Casey.
Absolutely, it's affected our budget. Mainly what we're focusing on is putting in budget items that we know are effective, that we know have worked in the past, and limiting the budget that we have for testing new channels or new content.
Okay. Yeah. Marketing is about experimenting. So maybe double down on experiments that work. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Fran.
Yeah, so we're very careful and selective on what programs we're doing, being laser focused. And what we end up doing in times like this, because it's definitely affected our budget, is we're focusing on the specific industries we know we have the right to win in based off of our close one data.
I love that. That's very, very smart. Great. And Sabrina.
Yeah, honestly, +1 to what Casey and Fran said, just really looking into historical data of what's worked well for us and where we can see the most pipeline come into fruition very easily compared to kind of testing a little bit more now. So we want to win and we want to be smart about where we're putting our dollars right now.
Makes sense. Final question, and then we're going to get to audience Q&A. As it pertains to lead generation, what is the one thing you know now that you wish you knew when you started out your career in cybersecurity marketing? Fran, going to go to you first.
Don't assume that your SDR or BDR team knows what to action.
Fair enough. So trust but verify. Make sure
There
that
you
they're
go.
following up on those very valuable MQLs you're kicking over to them. That's the
Yeah.
message. Yeah, very good. And Sabrina.
Coming from an HR heavy background, it's a lot harder to capture the attention of a CISO than an HR persona. So definitely learned how to stand out amongst the crowd and try to get, develop unique ways to capture the attentions of our ICP. But it's definitely been challenging.
Yeah. An analogy I like to use is if you've ever played tennis, or I used to play a lot of racquetball, there's a sweet spot on your racket. The CISO, I'm telling you, it's not the sweet spot. Okay.
Yeah.
Find the sweet spot. Maybe it's the director level. And that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. And then Casey.
Yeah, I totally agree with Sabrina. It's so hard to get in front of CISOs, so hard to get their attention. And I would just say that they do not like marketing speak. So giving them actual real impact, straight and forward is always the best way to go.
Okay, great. Thanks to all three of you. Please, don't don't go away because we have some questions from the audience that Maria is going to facilitate. But before I turn it over to Maria, a couple of special offers for all of you, and I'm so grateful that you attended our webinar. If you would like to take CyberEdge for a test drive on the content syndication front, we do offer 10% bonus leads for your first ever content syndication campaign. And if you want to take us for a test drive, for a single vendor or multi-vendor webinar, 25% discount with your first ever webinar with CyberEdge. You can go to our website. You can email us at info@cyberedgegroup.com. We have lots of great resources on our website. You can download our media kit. There's no gated form for that. But if you would like our pricing guide, just fill out a short form, or better yet, request a consultation. Let's talk about your specific needs. In our portfolio, everything is ungated, including webinar recordings, single vendor and multi-vendor webinars. So check that out. So Maria, I'm going to turn it over to you. What questions do we have from the audience?
All right, awesome. I'll start from the top. So we've got from Marco, any thoughts on regarding having or not having percentage of sales pipeline goals separated out by marketing teams? Isn't it better to have a common marketing goal to go towards so that we are not fighting for attribution? Oh, this is a fun one.
All right. Now, all three panelists, you don't need to weigh in, but I'm going to ask you just to unmute and speak up, and whoever unmutes first wins. Who would like to chime in?
I guess I'll start because we are split by divisions within our marketing team. So I'd say there's definitely pros and cons to it, right? It is nice that we have individual kind of marketing area goals so that we really feel like we are striving towards one goal that we can absolutely implement and hit within our smaller group. But I do see the benefit of a larger marketing team goal that is ultimately what we're all striving towards. So I said there's some pros and cons to each approach, and I think it all depends on how sort of siloed, if you will, each organization is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would
Great.
say I'll jump in quickly on that one. I've seen it work where the marketing team overall has their set of goals as a team, and then each function or individual can come up with their own individual goals that roll up to those. So my individual goals are so that they can contribute to that overall team goal, and so on and so forth, all the way to company goal. And I've seen that work really well because you feel directly like you're impacting this and then the next level and the next level.
Okay, great. What else do we have, Maria?
All right. With content syndication, we find the phone numbers are not often good for the SDR team. How do you utilize the content syndication leads once you get them?
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good
I
one.
I can take this. So when we get content syndication leads, we put them in a nurture or drip campaign, depending on like our greater campaign messaging at the time. So we warm them up definitely before passing them on to the SDR teams. And then I actually come in when I have a new content syndication program, educate the SDRs on what was the content that we served up, and then serve them with new sequences that they can leverage.
Yeah. My impression is most of the leads that the SQLs that are generated by the SDRs, the intro calls, my perception is that it's mainly from email communications and less from phone. But but it is great to have a phone number. It's just harder. Generally, from us, you're getting company phone numbers and you're doing dial by name or whatever. But yeah, I hear that can be a challenge.
I just
Yeah,
want to
I
add
think
one thing. Oh, good.
Sorry, I was just gonna say post-pandemic too, I feel like
Yeah.
the world of like a company phone number versus a personal phone number is really hard. That's like the SDR's, perennial challenge.
Yeah, great. But we appreciate the question.
Awesome. Okay, next question. And we're doing good. On the nurture side for content syndication leads, I struggle to reach an 8% open rate. Is that the case for most vendors?
I can take that. It kind of varies by vendor, I would say. But what we found success in is instead of just putting the leads that you get into a generic nurture, we'll split it up by industry and we'll hit them up like that first. So it starts off with the industry nurture, then it hits up on a topical nurture, and that typically helps with conversion rates.
I love that, especially if you have, compliance driven messaging. Your product helps with that. The industry segmentation is brilliant. All right. Another one. What do you find are effective nurturing tactics for content syndication? I think we just answered this. Like, if you can segment by industry, great. If you can segment by persona, maybe SOC analyst versus CISO versus GRC, governance risk and compliance, that sort of thing, I think works really well. So we'll skip that one. Okay. For each of the panel members, do you see the cybersecurity market at large as underserved, overserved, or appropriately served? And how does that influence your marketing efforts? Yikes.
A good question.
That is a question.
I'll start so Eins is a little different. We are not like a traditional software provider or vendor. We are a research provider. But so I will say, from speaking with a lot of CISOs, they get a lot of information from vendors, from cybersecurity vendors on a daily basis. There's such a big startup community too within the cybersecurity space. So again, to our earlier point, I think it's tough to get, cut through that noise. I think you really have to work from a marketing perspective to be differentiated and to be really clear about that differentiation, because it can be a little busy from a CISO perspective.
Sense. Love it. Okay. I think we have time for one last one before we say goodbyes. And I'll take this one from Mayra. How much do you rely on sales to set meetings when they are live at events versus waiting for meetings to be set post-event by the SDR team? It's a good one.
Oh my God. Okay. I just want to say we have a rule. And our rule is if you want to go to RSA, Black Hat, or whatever other event, you have to book meetings. Otherwise, you can't go.
That's a great rule. I love that.
I'm going to heavy +1 to that meeting, and then you get to go to the events. Prove that you want to be there and that you can, be of huge help when you're on site.
And I think they should do both, right? There's that always like pre-event play, during, and post. I think all stages are critical to make the most of your investment at the event. All right. Well, this was such an exciting conversation. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Of course, thank you to our panelists. We know T-minus 3 weeks to RSA. We really appreciate that you actually took 1 hour out of your time and prepped with us all these weeks. We appreciate it. The recording will be shared. Just be on the lookout for that. You will get a follow-up email. And Steve, thank you so much for running this discussion. This was really, really good. I'll give you maybe 10 seconds for some parting words, and then we'll say goodbye.
My parting words are twofold. Sabrina, Fran, and Casey, thank you so much. We learned so much from you guys. Thanks for sharing your experience. My closing call to action is not about CyberEdge. It is about marking your calendar right now. I mean it, like right now, December 7th through 10th. I swear to you, if you go to Cyber Marketing Con, you will not regret it. You are going to learn so much. You're going to have fun, and we want to see you in Austin in December. So please, hopefully we'll see you then.
Yes, and Austin is fun. So I want to do Austin. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.